Do some more reading here, but this time we're going to bounce out of Luke for now, and we'll go back and finish Luke as we read the New Testament again. But let's look at this Revelation, the shedding of new light on the book of Revelation and the end of the age. And Jesus, the Son of Man, was literally seen in the clouds in AD 66. This should be pretty good. Now, I know it's got the word preterist and preterism, and whether or not a Jesuit priest started a movement called preterism, that does not mean that the Bible doesn't say what it says. And whether you want to join a group or not in some movement, that's up to you. I really don't. I would like to be around some people who are really interested in the truth, and that's what I want. So, but if that's never going to happen, then it's just my own pursuit, like a lonely warrior that the truth is that I've discovered, then so be it too. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. Jesus, the Son of Man, was literally seen in the clouds in AD 66. The following may seem unbelievable. However, all information below is taken from unbiased historical records and is easily verifiable. Sources are also listed at the bottom of the page. Preterism and the Parousia, you will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven. And Mark 14:61 through 62 and John 21 verses 22 through 23. Jesus declares that the High Priest Caiaphas and the Apostle John will live to see the second coming. And just for the sake of it, we will bounce over to some of the verses. Let's go. We've already read numerous times Mark, but let's do it again. Mark 14. Mark 14, and I can't remember. Okay, 61 through 62. Keeping things in context as well is important, if we can. All right. And the high priest stood up in the midst and asked Jesus, saying, Answerest thou nothing? What is it which these witnesses against thee? But he held his peace and answered nothing. Again the high priest asked him, said unto him, Art thou the Christ, the Son of the Blessed? And Jesus said, I am. And ye shall see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power, coming in the clouds of heaven. And then the high priest rent his clothes and saith, What need we any further witness? Ye have heard the blasphemy. What think ye? And they all condemned him to be guilty of death. So Jesus makes it very specific to the high priest that, and the rest of them, the elders there, that yes, I am the Son of Man. And he says specifically not to us, 2,000 years later, allegedly 2,000 years later, that we will see him sitting in the right hand. No, he says specifically to the high priest. The high priest there that's about ready to condemn him along with the rest of the elders. And he says, Ye shall see the Son of Man sitting in the right hand of power and coming in the clouds of heaven. In other words, the second coming. Then, of course, we can go back to John 21. Remember the verse, 22 through 23. And then John says this. Peter, seeing him, that said to Jesus, Lord, What shall this man do? Oh, so anyways, we should start a little earlier. This spake he, signifying by what death he should be glorified. He should glorify God. And when he has spoken this, he saith unto him, Follow me. Then Peter, turning about, seeth the disciple singular, whom Jesus loved, following, that being John, which also leaned on his breast at supper, and said, Lord, which is he that betrayeth thee? And Peter, seeing him, saith to Jesus, Lord, and what shall this man do? And Jesus said unto him, If I will that he tarry till I come, what is it that ye shall? What is that to ye? Follow thou me. And then went this saying abroad among the brethren, that the disciples should that disciple should not die. Yet Jesus said not unto him, He shall not die, but if I will that he tarry till I come, what is it to thee? This is the disciple which testifieth these things, and wrote these things, and we know that his testimony is true. So there we go, and that's this. And then, of course, the last verse there. And there are also many other things in which Jesus did, the which, if they should be written, every one, I suppose, that even the world itself could not contain the books that should be written. And this happened after Jesus ascended. So Jesus is saying that John will tarry with him until he comes. Will tarry till he comes. In other words, the second coming. Nor more evidence of the spirit of the scriptures. Now, this is so important because of many reasons, and the most important thing that what we're going to witness as they try to pull off once again that the second coming is going to happen, and the justification for all the misery and the wickedness and the evilness in the world. Well, and then trying to say, well, Jesus is coming, and he's not coming because he already came. So second coming already happened, and I don't know how you can say you're a true follower of Jesus and you can't even accept what his words are, or what his disciples' words are, or you don't even understand what his words are. And the problem is you're following the blind, leading the blind, and the men who are profiteering off of you with their little fiefdoms they call churches, and sects, and cults of Christianity, of Judo-Christianity, of Judaism, of Satanism, of Mohammedanism. All of them are cults. You understand? There's not a single one that's right. Now, in the Bible, it says very clear about Jesus, and you'd make a decision whether he did what he did or not. But Christianity really was fulfilled by 70 AD. And since that time, what have man's done is just to take advantage of this, to take advantage of people's ignorance. And it's a terrible thing to witness. It's really pure evil. All I can say is Christians and Christianity is pure evil. And all these other cults out there too, from AA to whatever, the Church of Not Drinking, it's all cults. They have these rites and rituals that you're supposed to perform, and somehow all of a sudden you won't drink anymore. And listen, I'm Mr. AA. I started meetings that still exist. I sponsored guys. I actually went through the steps 6 times all the way through. I know guys, at least when I walked out of there 14 years ago, I knew guys that had been there for 40 years in AA and never even got past step 4, and I'm not exaggerating. And they were leaders and pillars for this. Honestly, AA is really a place for people to prey on each other. A lot of people with borderline personality disorders. And my problem was I was a drunk for 3 years and I didn't know how to deal with my life, and also coming to terms, through my journey of accepting who I am. and how I'm being a misfit, a social and economic and everything else misfit in this world, and how do I navigate this reality? I put my faith in Jesus and what he said and did. If you want to call me a Christian, you're wrong. I'm a believer in what Jesus did. I'm one of those people that says they have abiding faith in what Jesus said and did, with the hope that won't perish but have everlasting life, right? So I certainly don't want to perish on the other side, and I want to hang out with Heavenly Father, and I don't want to be stuck in some limbo or in perishing, dying. So, and Mark 14:61-62, which is read, Jesus declares that the high priest who delivered him over to the Romans for execution will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven. And then in John 21, verses 22 through 23, Jesus says that the Apostle John will remain alive until his return. Jesus also promised to return within his generation in Matthew 16:27 and 28, Matthew 24, that was this Matthew 24:30 something. Let's go there anyways. Let's do it anyways. So let's go to Matthew. For those that are not interested, you'll never come to the truth. Those who are interested, you'll start having a foundation of the truth. And the truth is a lot more disturbing than you can imagine. So anyways, he's talking to his disciples, and he says to them, "For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels," the second coming, right? "And then he shall reward every man according to his works." Who's the works and who's the man? The man, that is the disciples, and their job, they have a mission. Verily I say unto you, there be some standing here which shall not taste death till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. When he comes in his kingdom is of the glory of his Father with his angels. The second coming. How important is this? It's extremely important. I know it almost sounds like you're becoming a member of a cult ourselves by talking about this, but the importance of talking about this is to help rescue as many people from the deception that's out there, that the world's going to end and the second coming already has not happened. It's going to happen in our future. You realize the truth, just that realization of truth, whenever you hear anybody else that claims to be a Christian or representing Jesus, you know damn well they aren't, and they are just playing, and they're delusional at best. And most likely what they're doing is exploiting you and trying to get you to follow them and give you money that they don't deserve. And once again, in Matthew 24, he's saying specifically to his apostles about what is going to happen in their generation. And he talks about the destruction of Jerusalem, the temple, and his second coming, which he brings out very clearly. He says, "Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away till all these things be fulfilled." And what are part of all those things that shall be fulfilled? Then shall be the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in a cloud, and the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. What's going to happen in that generation, he says very clearly. And the problem is, man, we've been so snookered. So many people have been so deceived, and we're so easily manipulated. It's frightening to see how clear that is. Now, if we go back to Mark 8, which is a very useful at the end there, and Jesus wants to talk to his disciples, his apostles, not to you and I, to the people standing right in front of him, Whosoever therefore shall be ashamed of me and of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him also shall the Son of Man be ashamed, when he cometh in the glory of his Father with his angels. That's the second coming, right? And he says, the next verse, conveniently split between chapter 8 and 9, and he said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that there be some of them that stand here, which shall not taste death, till they have seen the kingdom of God come with power. And it's not the transfiguration, which Matthew and Mark think it's 6 days afterwards, but then Luke thinks it's 8 days afterwards. But regardless whether it's 8 days or 6 days or 7 days or a week or whatever, the fact of the matter is, in order for this verse to stand for the transfiguration, then some of his own apostles had to die within that week period, and there's no record of that. No record of that at all. In fact, the complete opposite. So it cannot be about the transfiguration. So common sense rules that out, and that's where that's when I started realizing, shucks, I got suckered, because there's like guys like Derek Hallett, which I love. His argument about that Jesus Christ didn't come already was based on him saying that Mark 8, verse 38 and 9 through 1, Mark 9 and 1, and Matthew 16, 27 and to 28 is about the transfiguration, and it clearly cannot be. It's very dishonest, and I don't know why people have to hold on to something that's not true. The only thing I could think of is because in the end, if you have to admit that you've been wrong for years, which, by the way, I've had to go through numerous things that way, not just about my understanding who Jesus is and Christianity and all that. In every aspect of my life, I've had to do that. And every man I know who is honest and searching for truth can say emphatically that the vast majority of the time he has been wrong about something, but what you have to do is confess that you've been wrong about something to move forward. You say, you know what, I was wrong about what I said, and I've changed because my understanding is different. Hopefully is more in line with the truth. Anyways, it says here, because of statements like these, and the disciples all believed that Jesus should return within many of their lifetimes and within that generation. And let's remember, when we talk about 1,000 years as a day, days like 1,000 years is 1,000 years a day, or whatever. 1,000 years a day to the Lord is a day is 1,000 years. It doesn't matter which way you say it. It's all the same thing. Time, our time is not relevant to God's time. And God's long suffering, and God gave them a whole damn generation, 40 long years of miracles upon miracles upon miracles. And the miracle that the gospel was spread throughout the whole world in that time period is amazing in itself. That just all the other things that happened. I mean, can you imagine? I can't imagine. I wish there was something that is more meaningful and in our day than it was back then. I mean, still it is the truth, but people judge you on the way you look, and then that's the first thing, and then they judge you on how you communicate. And you could be telling the truth, but by the time the first few seconds, they've already judged you, and they ain't going to listen to you no matter what. That's the world we live in today. Don't tell me that wickedness hasn't left. Don't tell me that evil hasn't left. It always has been there. And you guess what? We are the vessels of evil in this world. And if we want to be vessels of good, the first thing we got to do is try to be as honest as possible. What's frightening, and this is just, part one of all this, frightening is how evil Christians are. Judo-Christians are, Jews are, and Muslims. And everybody else is too, by the way. I mean, it's not just because they're uniquely Christian that they're evil, that makes them more evil than others. The problem is, if you're claiming I'm following God and you're claiming to follow the principles of, say, the Ten Commandments or the teachings of Jesus, how is this constantly going down the wrong path? Why are we even lying about what Jesus said and did? How can we be ashamed about what Jesus said and did? It's because the foundation of our culture, our society, is based on a bunch of big fat lies. Now listen, baby, I mean, all these cults, whether it's Satanism, Luciferianism, Christianity, Judeo-Christianity, Judaism, Mohammedanism, Shintoism, Hinduism, this ism, that ism, every ism on the world, they're all cults, and they're all designed for one thing, to control your mind. And so you go from that point, you understand that. And then you pursue the science. And then they treat the word science as some kind of God or something, as if it's infallible. And yet the scientific method is what, if you use it, the principle of scientific method to understand the truth of what the Bible said, you can also use that and anything else. And you'll find out that there's questions about what a virus is and if it's even real or not. In fact, there's little evidence at all that it is. Which is not medical advice. It's just the truth. It's not about medicine. It's just about a reality. And then it just goes on from there. And it just everything that we do, and we are willing to judge and brutalize each other and make fun of each other. I mean, there's a lot of evil people in the world who will do anything for a buck. And you are evil if you do that. If you do anything for a buck, or if you do a job that you know it's detrimental to other human beings, and you do that, you're pretty much evil. I have to tell you, and it's something you should be ashamed of. And a lot of them say that they believe in Jesus and they believe in God, or they believe this and that. But you know what? It's terrible. I mean, you should be ashamed of yourselves. As a Christian, you should be absolutely ashamed of yourself to keep on telling people that the second coming is in the future. You're not a Christian. You're a con artist. Whether you intend to be or not, you're pushing a con.